How we doing, guys? Welcome to the preview and the predicted lineup. Arsenal against Wolves. We are back in Premier League action. And I don't want to get carried away too early, but it's nice to have a game where I think it will be a lot easier than the games that we've had of late. And I tried to say that with all due respect to Wolves, but we are playing a side that look like they're already resigned to go into the Championship. You know, bottom of the table. They've not won a single game all season. They sit on 2 points. It's not an exaggeration to say that they could well be the team that break Derby's points tally record that stood for so long. They are poor. And they are under a new manager in Rob Edwards, but I don't see any difference. I watched them on Monday night against Manchester United, and they looked absolutely all over the place. Terrible. I'm not exaggerating when I say that Manchester United could have probably hit double figures in that game. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, okay, maybe playing at home for Wolves because of the protests and everything else that are going on, and fans, well, I say fans, but some of the fans, quite a fair chunk of them, didn't come into the ground until 15 minutes after kickoff as part of their protest. I don't know whether all of that has an effect on the players. It certainly looks like it. So maybe playing away from home might give them a little bit more of a lease of life and a little bit more freshness because they don't feel that kind of pressure. But when I was looking at the faces of the fans in the, stands on Monday, and they look absolutely dejected. And you've got to feel for them as a fellow football fan, and we all love our club. And when, things are going bad, it must be really, really tough. And listen, they must look at our situation and our problems, or we say problems, but we lose our first game in 19 or 20 or whatever it is now. And we feel like the whole world's crashed around us. So they must be thinking, oh, I wouldn't mind some of that. They haven't even seen a victory. The Manchester United game where they scored on Monday night was their first goal in absolutely ages. So just to celebrate a goal, it's really, really bad for Wolves. And like I said, they're under a new manager in Rob Edwards. And some of you may remember this or may not remember this, but he's obviously came from Middlesbrough. He was manager at Luton when they were in the Premier League. But there's that statistic that I believe is 110 games now since we've conceded more than 2 goals in a game, in any competition. And that game was against Luton Town when we won 4-3. That was the last time a team has been able to score more than 2 goals past us. And Rob Edwards was the manager. And it was Luton. And how mad is that? It was that long ago that Luton are now in League One, and their manager is former Arsenal player Jack Wilshere. Crazy statistic, really. But let's not, see them getting a load of goals and it ends up being one of them high-scoring games. But the way we've looked defensively over the last, couple of weeks, I'm not too sure on one of them basketball games. I don't like that. Give me Gabriel and Saliba back all day long and give me control and a lack of chances. But yeah, in terms of fitness, I believe that Declan Rice will be back. I think Jurriën Timber may well be back, but I'm not overly sure. William Saliba, listen, it's the only injury that I've ever seen that's been a matter of days that's turned into weeks. And even when you look at Arteta's press conference, he still hasn't given anything away and says, there's another training session, we'll see if he's available. And the same with Trossard. And I don't know. I honestly do not know. So the lineup is based on what I hope's available and what I think will be available. And I think that also we need to be mindful that a lot of players had a rest in midweek against Bruges. And then we've got a 4 weeks rest until we play Everton next week. So if you play players like Declan Rice, for example, he'll play this game. And then when it comes to the Everton game, there would have been a 2-week window where he would have just played the one game, which is tomorrow. That would have been it. And the same with the likes of Jury and Timber. Calafiori is suspended, so he's not going to be involved. So I think that we've kind of got this little bit of an ease in the fixtures until that Christmas part, and we've got Carabao Cup. I don't know what we're going to do in that. Still gutted we're not going to see the likes of Max Dowman and games like that, because that would have been made for him. But yeah, listen, the lineup will be interesting, and this is what I think Mikel will go with. In goal, David Raya. This is a position that ain't going to change. It's very, very simple. Right back, I think it will be Jurrien Timber. I think he will come back into the side. Ben White has played 3 games in a week. That's a lot of games when he's just come back from so many different injuries and niggles and getting himself back to full fitness, and hasn't been really involved, and then all of a sudden gets thrown in 3 games. It might be all right to just, let him have a breather on this one. And Jurrien Timber didn't play on Wednesday. Have no issues with Ben White playing, but the thought process behind it, because obviously Timber, he travelled but didn't, get involved in the game or anything like that. So that's what I'm going to do. Right centre-back will be William Saliba. I'm praying he's back. Please, come on. It's been weeks, not days. Let's bring him back. Let's have a little bit of control in the defence. Left centre-back will be Henkape. I think this is a pretty straightforward one. I would like to see him as a left-back at some point, because I remember when he was, at Leverkusen, very, very good. But obviously Calafiori, he's suspended, can't go into that left centre-back role, and vice versa, and all the rest of it. So, yeah, Henkape will start the game. And then on the left-hand side will be Miles Lewis-Skelly. Done all right in midweek against Bruges. Comfortable game. Kept it very simple. Was always a danger when he moved inside and became that kind of midfield player. But yeah, no issues, problems, whatever, straightforward. In the midfield, I think this is where we will have a bit of a change. And I believe that Zubimendi will come out of the side. Declan Rice will return and he will play as the 6. Zubimendi's had a lot of minutes, and the fact that he played all the game on Wednesday, I think that kind of sets it up perfectly for him to get his breather in this game. Declan Rice will go there, and there's a reason for it. On the right-hand side, Bukayo Saka, he will come back into the side, start the game, was on the bench, came on 15, 20 minutes. But how nice is it that we've got the likes of Noni Madueke there and doing what he's been doing? Very, very good, very simple, but Bukayo Saka starts the game. Alongside him will be Martin Odegaard. I can't see Mikel Arteta bringing Odegaard out of the side. Wanyeri, when he come on, I really liked what he was doing, but I just don't feel Mikel will start him. That's the thought process anyway. I think it will be Martin Odegaard. And then alongside him will be Eberechi Eze. I think we're going to get the opportunity to see them as the 2 number 10s. We've been crying out for it all season, and then we kind of got it against West Ham. I believe there was a point where we had it against Newcastle late in the game, and then we had it against West Ham, and then Odegaard only lasted about 15 minutes. So we couldn't, see what we all wanted to see. But I feel that, Eze, he had a good rest. Only played 45 minutes against Aston Villa. He'll be fresh and ready to go and make amends for his mistake of, letting Matty Cash go and score that goal in the Villa game. So, yeah, I'd like to see them as the 2 number 10s against Wolves anyway, definitely. On the left-hand side, I'm going to go with Noni Madueke. I think he deserves to start. Won't start ahead of Saka, but they can rotate, they can move around. So that's a good option to have. And I think he'll be flying and, feeling good about himself after, he gets that goal. 2 goals, but the first one in particular, which was absolutely beautiful. So that's the selection that I would go with there. And then up front as the main striker, I think it will be Victor Gyökeres. Been a lot of talk over the last few days about him and Jesus having more chances, but they're 2 different players. Jesus starts out very wide, gets very involved in the build-up stuff, creates a lot of his own stuff, whereas Gyökeres is pretty much in and around the box, holding off defenders and completely different styles. But yeah, you knew that was going to happen the moment Jesus come on and he had an opportunity and hit the bar. Everyone was just going to start making comparisons. But I think that Moreno will have a break. He's played a lot of football, and Arteta said himself is that, you know, he ran out of gas against Aston Villa, and then he played in midweek as well. So give him a breather. Very simple. Gyökeres could be the perfect game for him to get his goal scoring touchback. If he can back a few goals, then it's only going to benefit us saying it. So listen, there we go. That is it. That is the preview and the lineup. I think that's a strong enough lineup. I think that's a very, very strong lineup. Should be able to get the job done. Should be able to, you know, get the 3 points in the bag, and then we'll hand it over to Man City on Sunday because they play Crystal Palace away. Don't know how I feel about that, because every time Crystal Palace play in Europe on the Thursday, the league game straight after, they end up playing poorly. So what on paper could look like a difficult game may well not be. But the fact that Man City are coming off the back of playing at the Bernabeu and a lot went into that game, it could well be a game that they slip up in, but who knows? We just got to get our job done first and foremost. So there we go. So you know what to do if you haven't already. Like, subscribe, comment. And yeah, I will see you a lot soon. I'm out of here.